I am Father Thomas. My priesthood is 33 years from 1983, and I worked in the parish for three parishes only. First, as like assistant priest, I worked in the 제1부 Cathedral Church. Then as soon as I was ordained first time.
Okay.
And second, I worked in the small parish in Juksan.
Okay.
It is Ansong,
Okay.
in Ansong.
Okay.
And so the parish is Songso in Songtan, Osan Air Base, near Osan Air Base. And that's our parish priest. Parish priest, three parish. And I studied in Rome from 1986, 1991, 1991 April. I studied in dogmatic theology in Rome and the university in Pontifical University, Urbanian. Yes. And I returned from Rome. I worked in the Suwon Catholic University until now. And for 15 years, I worked as like a director of San Vincenzo de Paul. The community is help poor, yes, for family and for men. And I introduced Vincenzo de Paul in our diocese in 1984 winter. And I worked for the Worldwide Marriage Encounter, the Suwon Diocese.
Okay.
I was 2 years the responsible of this community. And I worked as like general director of Suwon Catholic Library. For 2 or 3 years, something like that. I don't remember that well.
Okay.
And I worked as like director of Hasang. How can I say? I don't know how can I say it. In this is one 학원, small academy. No, where the
Principal, academic director, or principal?
academic principal. I was
Principal, yeah.
yes. Where many peoples. They can study theology in the Suwon Catholic University. And from 2009, I worked here, St. Lazarus Village, as like general director.
Okay.
This is my introduction. For me, and I wanted to talk about my story on the motive to be a priest.
Okay.
I was born in Catholic family. My grandfather began to believe in Catholic. I think 1920. From 1920. Also, my father was baptized when he was born.
Okay.
Also, in this environment of Catholic family, from 5 years old. When I was 5 years old, I must go every day, every morning, to go to the church to celebrate the mass, attend the mass with my grandfather.
Right.
At the time, I was very young, I'm kids. I wanted to sleep long time, but my grandfather at 5 in the morning, he brought me.
Wow.
Even though I could not open my eyes, sleeping yet.
Yeah.
But he brought me and brought me in the kitchen, and he cleaned my face and dressed me up and took me to the church to say the mass. At the time, there was always in the morning the mass. Winter, summertime, equal. And the time is always same.
Okay.
At 6 in the morning.
Okay.
If you go to the winter, you can see always the moon on the roof of the church.
Right.
And at the time there is not electric light in the street, always dark.
Okay.
But my grandfather took my hand and go to the church. From that time, I must not, I could not avoid the mass every day. First of all, I was to go to church with my grandfather. My grandfather was died in 1966. At the time, I was sixth grade of elementary school. Okay. I lived exactly the environment of Catholic family, and at third grade of elementary school, I met a military priest. How can I say? He worked in the Air Force. I was very happy to meet him because his figure is very for me excellent and good because he dressed up very wonderful, and he had a handgun his side, and he had a Roman collar on his neck. It is very beautiful for me. The first impression of the priest for me. I thought that was a great impression for me, and the impression is strongly was graven in my mind as like idol. So I lived storing the impression until I joined minor seminary until first grade of high school. And after graduate elementary school, my parish priest is very good, excellent priest. He make me join minor seminary. He recommended me to join the minor seminary.
Okay.
I respected him very much because he's very good priest and excellent priest. But when I was first grade of high school, there was a big accident. I don't know what I said right, but the accident is the two priests. One priest was my idol,
Right.
and the second priest is my recommender.
Recommended.
Recommended priest. But they left at the same time. Their priesthood at the time. The extent for me a great shock to me. But I did not hate them because they were very excellent priests. And I could think about me at the time. The reason is this: they are really excellent persons. It's good priest, but I was not like them. So at the time I think, can I be a priest? Maybe I cannot be like them because I was not like them. I cannot be a priest in the future. So almost 2 months I agonized for my sake. But I concluded that they are a weak human being. Weak human beings.
Yeah.
Beings.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a weak human being.
Right.
They can make a mistake. Also, I can make a mistake in future. But also, I cannot make a mistake. Even though they make a mistake to leave their priesthood, I will not be able to leave my priesthood. So I concluded like this: I can come down and to study continuously in high school. And at the time, I decided to be a priest. And when I entered the major seminary, seminary is a university. First grade of the university, I contracted tuberculosis in April. In Harvard Day, do you know? Harvard Day. One deacon came to me to visit one sister who works in Myeongdong, Myeongdong Church. She invited him and asked him to accompany to take me, accompany me.
Right.
Yes. So at the time I didn't want to see the many sisters because my sisters too related the sisters. So, but I could not reject.
Yeah, I could not refuse.
Refuse his suggestion. I follow him at Myeongdong, and after lunch we ate at lunch with the sister, and all day I rest in the room without a word, without conversation. I didn't want to talk with the sisters because the sisters is spread all over the nation. If I made a mistake in front of them, I just on me spread all over the country. Bad, like bad news.
Did you know you had tuberculosis at the time?
Huh?
Did you know that you had tuberculosis? You said that you were sick. You had tuberculosis.
No. I'm not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
And after that, the next day morning, I spit out blood in my neck. Before 2 weeks, during the 2 weeks, every morning, as soon as I get up, I begin to cough 5 minutes or 10 minutes, cough continuously. Before washing my face, it's very hard suffering for 2 weeks. And when I go to bed, lay down on the bed, I begin to cough again for 10 minutes for 2 weeks. But I did not know that it's only catch cold.
Right.
But after half a day, morning, I spit the blood. So I know it is dangerous. Serious, very serious. And I could not go to the church that morning. And after breakfast, I must go to the hospital. And I arrived at the hospital. The doctor made me check my breast on X-ray. And after that, he said to me, you contracted tuberculosis. You must take a break from school at least 1 year. But he said it is not exactly 1 year or 2 years. You can you must rest also 2 years. He said to me, So I asked him not to take a break from school. Can I frequent the school from outside? I asked him, but he said no, because the tuberculosis is very dangerous for other peoples. They can contaminate your tuberculosis. So from that time I must be leave the school and return to home.
Wow.
And at the time, I must live alone, and my food must cook not with my family. My food must cook in my kitchen. So first day, first 1 month, I think I must have injection, streptomycin. I don't know if you know.
I don't know.
Every day must have injection. The first days, my brother make me have injection, but at the time it's spring. The country is very busy to cultivate field and garden, rice and vegetables. It's very busy time. So she couldn't make me have
Come to give the injection.
The injection. Some days, so I had injection by myself.
Right.
I think it was 10 days, maybe. After 10 days, I go to the hospital because the doctor, I know very well the doctor, and I asked him to make have an injection for me. So I brought all pieces of medicine and injection needed. How do you say?
Syringe.
Huh?
Syringe.
Syringe. And I give all to him, and every day I go to the hospital to have injection.
Okay.
And after 1 month, the doctor, you did not every day, once a week, enough. I told him, go there once a week. And at that time, every day I went to church to celebrate Mass, and after Mass I had many conversations with my parish priest, who was and now until now is very friendly to me, and we all days after Mass we can conversation about my life that day, what I did, what I thought in the house, resting. It was very helpful to live the period of take from school, 1 year. And I prayed always to go to church and return home. I prayed always rosary. From my house to church, it take 15 minutes to work. Walking. So I prayed one rosary one time. So I could return my seminary first time in my life, because it's this. When I joined the minor seminary, there were 105 persons started to live together, and in high school, 29 students come in. So 134 students start from seminary, minor seminary. But when I graduated high school, only 40 students graduated. So 94 students left the school. But among them, someone go to the home, return home to rest or take from school. Nobody returns. At first time, the doctor taught me to take off from school. I worry about that because nobody returns.
Right.
So at that time, I thought I will be finished because nobody returns. But I have a conversation with my parish priest all days, every day, and pray every day. I could return from my home to school. The first person to return to school. And after 3 months, 4 months, I think 4 months, I thought about myself because at the time it's very important period to me to take from school. What is priest? What is priest? I have a conclusion that the priest in the religious or layman is the one method to reach to God. That is not important thing. The priest or religious or layman is important thing. According through the way, through the method, I can reach to God. But I could not talk about that to my parish priest because I don't know his thinking. But one day, when I arrived at the priest's house, there was a man who wanted to go to the monastery, and they talk about that and the vocation. Suddenly, momentarily, I interrupt their talking. I said that I thought the priesthood, what is priesthood and religious and layman. After I talk about that, my parish priest said to me, "You are right. It is important to be a priest. Important is to reach God, and we have the imagine of God. We must complete the image of God. It is important thing. So after that, I could be calm down and to continuously go to my way, and I could be a priest. So I thought now the year that I took off from school is the great grace from God to me. That's